Hey there, folks. What is going on, right here? And welcome back to episode of Cards and Castles Casting Conflict. We've got some great debut action for you guys on this episode. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into match number 1 for this video.
I actually tried tweaking
folks.
first, but it didn't work.
Welcome back to another episode of Casting Conflicts here. We've got Reaper DA, also known as DeathsAdvocate, taking on Bolas here. Of course, DeathsAdvocate, a debut here on Casting Conflicts. Look like he's going for the Pirate Druid, taking on Bolas in the Warlock Crusader. And with me, of course, in the casting booth today is Beastly. Beastly, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well, sir. It's great to be back. We're seeing some good action in the early game. Now we saw an interesting move from Death's Advocate. If you're over here watching his screen, he chose to replace a Bestial Rage in his opening hand with a range unit and a scope. So I'm not too sure how this is gonna go. But we do see him rocking Doom Ship,
which might
so
be
this
the
should be
coin
interesting.
here. I think it's
Yes,
going to be,
I think
definitely wants some early
that will
defense.
be his coin play.
Meanwhile,
And Doomship is just... Oh yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, Bolas looking to run the Warlock Crusader, already kind of low on cards here, of course. Lumberjack, we now see Flying Book, Salhar Rider. Thinking this could be no interaction, which, you know, we love to know that Death's Advocate is not really a fan of this deck. So I'm not sure if he's totally excited about seeing this. But yeah, definitely a bit low on resources here. I'm kind of curious to see how he's going to respond to this burn, potentially.
I have a prediction here. I'm going to say that this is not no interactions, but this is something to do with undead units and knights.
Yeah.
Now
that we're
this
saying
is something
loud.
Bolas. Yes, this is something Bolas has been cooking up for a while. If it is no interactions, fair play. Of course, Death's Advocate is not the biggest fan of no interactions. It turns out to be Last Will. Okay, I guess we were both wrong on that front.
Certainly. Though the problem
I'm
seeing right now with Bolas's methodology here, he's giving Death a lot of room to set up and build accordingly here. Obviously, that could change considering that Bolas has access to Warlock, things like Flamestorm and Dragon's Fire. But I mean, looking at Death's hand, we see Armory, we see Blacksmith Scope. A lot of tools to make these Doom ships a lot more deadlier and possibly near impossible for Bolas to deal with.
Yeah, that is true, but yeah, they are very slow though. So like right now, he can't actually get to any of the units here. Of course, that's the price you pay for having that beefy 4/5 boy, who can't really be burned off so easily. But we're gonna see, we're gonna see maybe if he pushes the Andrew up one square, we might see his scope come out. Nope, he doesn't. All right, smart play on his part. Probably on.
I mean, yeah, maybe onslaught Andrew, start getting him a bit weaker.
Yeah. I was about to say, just get that one bleed every turn, and that will add up in your favor, definitely. And then definitely take out this Nun.
I mean, you have 2 Doom ships, both of them able to take out Nun. You could probably block up with the Lumberjack as well, force the books to interact with you, get some things closer so you can still continue to shoot things off with Doom Ship. You've got a lot of options here. And looking at his hand, too, I'm really liking Death's odds for when we go later into the matchup.
Yeah.
Things like Spiny, Shaman, Lumberjack, again, to refill that hand. Even Griffin, big boy, and with Armory, that could stand up to a lot of Last Will's beef that might be coming down the line later.
Yeah, and I don't really agree with his move there of shooting with the top one. I would have shot with the bottom one and pushed the top one up one square. I guess that's just my play style. I'm a little bit more aggressive. But I'm not thinking that Lumberjack really could have done too much. Actually, with a Drain Life, maybe, but...
Again, if Bolas is running such a card in this deck, Dragon's Fire hits the board here, that's going to be a little annoying for Reaper, although not totally... the be-all, end-all. Really only getting the Lumberjack Last Will off of Death's Lumber, not his own. So still
what would be annoying is if Bolas has another one.
which is why we're probably going to scope up here with one of them to just ensure that a Doom ship survives. We'll see books get taken out.
Yeah.
Daggerstorm going to hit the board here. All three
Oh,
successfully
that
landing on Andrew,
hurts.
and that is going to be a big
Oh,
swing in this matchup.
oh, RNG.
Yeah,
Oh,
I don't
that
think you can.
hurts.
If you're Death, you're very happy about that. If you are him in this situation, Bolas could have an
Jeez,
out here
man.
if he can grotesque or sack this lumberjack in any way to kind of keep his Andrew out for a little while longer, or an armory. But yeah, that Andrew's gonna be gone next turn, and Bolas probably not too excited about that. Oh, okay, so he does get a
Yeah,
flame storm,
no,
but not enough.
it's still gonna be gone. Yeah, still gonna be gone. Probably another flamestorm just to clear board, or
No,
not.
priest.
Oh, he's hanging on. That Andrew's dead though.
Yeah,
There's no
no
way.
matter where you look at it, there's nothing that can get rid of the bleed. The health will just continue to take away here, and now Bolas kind of giving Reaper an opportunity here to kind of strike back. I don't exactly know where I would go if I were him, though. I mean, you could probably get some Shaman draw, maybe, or push with Griffin. What are your thoughts on that, Beastly?
Probably push with Griffin. Like Call for Aid's in hand, but I wouldn't use it just yet. Just because you've got enough cards. You don't need to be looking for those big boys to come out when you've already got Griffin. So
Right.
definitely just push with Griffin.
Right, certainly. But now we're going to see here, yep, that Griffin push. The second Dragon's Fire, as we were kind of predicting, did pop out there. Andrew to block, which is fine, considering that it will die. Reaper doesn't really have to interact with that, though. Troll Gunner, an interesting pickup from the deck, though.
Interesting. I probably would have honestly spiny, and then hit castle with
We can still
the
hit Spiny. We still saw the 3 gold for
yeah
Spiny.
spiny hit castle. No, don't.
Okay, going for the
Oh,
blacksmith. That's fine.
that's a missed opportunity there.
Yeah, I would say that's a bit of an opportunity miss. I mean, 7 damage to kind of equalize damage across the board here. But
It
I
would have
do
been a
like what he's
board
doing,
wipe as
though.
well.
I do like what he's doing, though. He's setting up a lot of big threats, and we see he's got a call for 8 in hand, too. That's going to be something that's just going to add on fuel to the fire if you're Death's Advocate here against the Last Will, who's now lost their Andrew and their damage equalizer in the game.
Yeah, that is true. I guess, I mean, the spiny play honestly isn't that much of a loss. I don't really see bolas coming back from this. I just would have liked to seen it to kind of solidify things, but I mean, it does make sense to set up a troll gunner. The blacksmith as well. It's nice to get it out. It's out of Dragon's Fire range, with the armory there, which is always good.
And I
But
mean, we've
the
already
it's
played 2
interesting.
Dragon's Fire too. Keep that in
Yeah,
mind. And no deck
yeah.
really capitalizes on 3 Dragon's Fire unless it's very burn heavy.
Well, I mean, that is true. I'm sorry, Red. Of course, I doubt your infinite wisdom, but it is kind of interesting that he's running the troll gunner with the call for aid. That's a little bit of anti-synergy there. Of course, with the upkeep for the troll gunner, kind of cutting you off on turn 10 from getting that call for aid off and playing the
Oh,
what is it called?
this is disgusting what we can
Oh,
do here. I
that's
imagine
kind of
we're gonna probably
greasy.
see Troll Gunner connect with the Priest, get it off for free kill, but we can further do a Spiny Blacksmith play to take off that Andrew as well, because we already got currently 2 buffs on board, and a third will mean Spiny's at 5
Yeah.
attack, and that's gonna be a perfect trade there.
He should do it.
I would take it.
He he's
Armory,
gonna
yep.
armory.
Either one
Yeah,
works, and then
do
yep,
it.
we throw the
Oh, you
Spiny.
dirty boy, dirty.
So yeah, there is the
Oof.
Andrew elimination here. We could probably still see a Flamestorm that would do some work here, getting Bolas some additional draw, taking off the Spiny, killing off an Armory. But yeah, Bolas is definitely in trouble here. I don't see a lot of room for recovery at this point.
Yeah, it's really lethal unless he takes out the Griffin and the Troll Gunner here.
Alright, so
Um,
Spiny gonna connect there.
sorry. He needs to take out the Griffin if he wants to survive next turn, or just face block Castle.
Which might be difficult to do. Blue
That
Fireball,
works.
kind of, but not
All
really what we
right.
want to see. We already know that okay, Fear. Fear will do some
Yeah,
nice work here.
the fear does it. Yeah, that's good for him. Companion
Unfortunately,
draw will end it.
Shaman, that still leaves room for a companion draw if you want to take that opportunity.
Oh,
There's
okay. He gets the
there's
companion.
the Kent Centaur.
I mean, it's not going to be endgame because he doesn't quite have the global presence he had before.
Right, he's down one
Um,
armory. He could throw possibly a blacksmith out, or if he wants to get another shaman draw and make it seem like he's digging for stuff, that works too. I imagine it's gonna be blacksmith though to kind of just make a big gunner shot at this point, right? You can do that.
yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Just go for the
that
big boy
general's way out
call.
of position to be impactful in the next turn. The lumberjack draw is not gonna really be super helpful unless that griffin kind of moves in more aggressively too. Uh, and if you're gonna
Yeah, he
take
goes for it.
if you're gonna take the shot, it's gonna force bolas to respond with either a big heal or surrender potentially.
Yeah, basically deal 6 or die. That's it at this point. That's what you can do. Like, I don't think people realize this enough with range units because I don't see people playing them aggressively enough, in my opinion. But you can literally, if you like Darkbender, drain life, and then stick it in face on like turn 5, it's literally just deal 7 or die. That's it.
So unfortunately, we're not going to see Griffin get pushed up here to create additional pressure, but that is a fine position for where he is. Obviously, Shaman can knock files and move in for the 8. So we are pretty much facing lethal damage here. Yeah, Taria's set up. Okay, we're going to need to probably block that, which we are going to do with Lumberjack. Oh, the third
Ooh,
Dragon's
and
Fire. The third
I
Dragon's
told you.
Fire. Got it. Alright,
Oh,
fine.
it's too bad he didn't have a flamestorm to go with that. That would have saved his ass so hard.
Yeah, you definitely need that extra flame storm here. But it looks like the game's gonna be over. We
Yeah,
could
that's
tap the
just gonna
patrol
be
gunner. We
game.
could fly around with the griffin, or just
You can just,
yeah,
yeah,
or do
just
that too.
Centaur to end off the game.
Yep.
That's kind of sad to see. So yeah, he did run the 3 Dragonflies, so respect to that. And you said he wouldn't.
I really thought he
Beastly
wouldn't.
turns out correct in the end.
All right. I mean, listen. I was wrong in that instance, and you proved me wrong. So, a very nice win though for Reaper to, I mean, start off his career in casting conflicts, if I want to put it like that. Very strong start indeed with that green white. Very interested to kind of talk to him and see his thoughts on that matchup. So, Beastly, what did we say we get into the player interviews and see how they're feeling?
I'm very excited to. Yeah, let's definitely do that.
All right, let's go ahead and get going. All right, and match number 1 in the books now. Bolas, unfortunately, you didn't come out with the win here against Death's Advocate Reaper. I don't know what she prefers to be called in this case, but we'll get to
Yeah,
that in a second. Tell us what you were going through in that matchup. We saw you bought in, I guess, the traditional Last Will. I mean, you got Nunn,
yeah.
Andrew. Just walk us through that matchup for you.
I honestly had no idea what Reaper was gonna, or Death's Advocate. I don't freaking know. What he was gonna be playing. So I just went with my highest ranked deck at the time, which was Last Will, and I felt that if he was doing any sort of like Mystic Rats thing, that all the board wipes, like the Flame Storm and the Dragon's Fire, would come in handy, which they kind of did, especially with the ships. But besides that, I thought it was a pretty good match, and he was just able to overpower me with his bigger units. I would say I probably made a mistake with my play at the end of the game, where I had I put the sunflower on the wrong side of the castle. It should have been on the other side, because I was side with the blacksmith. But it didn't really end up mattering that much. He would have gotten me at like 1 health anyhow. So,
Right, right.
but
We noticed the
it was a
big
good game.
problem for you was the global buffs, just the continual upping in strength of his units. Really, you couldn't deal with
Yeah,
that a whole lot. And, I mean, fair enough. I mean, the incredible Dagger Storm landing on Andrew.
yeah,
I
that
don't
was
think that
very
was.
unfortunate.
Yeah. That was a bit unfortunate for sure. Beastly, you got any words for Bolas, though?
3 Dragonfires, respect.
Yeah. For some reason, that happens a lot. In that, I always pull out the Dragon's Fire. People get really mad at me for it,
Yeah,
especially when I
we were
play like
saying at
somebody that I know, and they'll always be like, "Why do you always have Dragon Fire?"
yeah, we were saying at the end there that if you just had the Flamestorm, that would have
Yeah,
been a good complement to that final Dragon's Fire because we weren't expecting 3. Well, I kind of was, but Red said there was only going to be 2. But then you pulled out the third one, and we were like, "Whoa!" But it was
yeah,
the globals, the armory just
yeah.
kind of carried there.
Needed more burn for the armories, but yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, moving on to the other side of the matchup, though. Well, first of all, let's go ahead and get the name situation out of the way. Any preference on username?
DA is pretty easy.
All right, well, I mean, DA, you had a very strong showing here in the opening matchup. You're pulling out the Pirate Druid. I assume buff strategy? I mean, walk us through the idea behind it for people who might not be familiar with what you were rocking with here.
Oh, it's just sort of the first deck I threw together. It took me to top 100 in my first week. I've recently updated it to just have a little bit higher of a curve. At its core, it's just abusing a couple strong ranged units with the highest stat to cost ratio via Rampage and Scope, mixed with just your general good stuff in the colors.
Right, and we saw that really kind of worked out for you in the beginning, especially putting those 2 Doom ships out, and then being able to use the those to control, I think, the way the game felt. It just seemed like Bolas wasn't going to be able to push you with that Doom ship just protecting your castle and being able to kind of clear whatever it was he was going to throw into you. But how did you feel going up against the last will matchup, and especially one that saw a little bit more burn than usual? Obviously, Triple Dragon's Fire is not something I think a lot of these decks run, and things like obviously Flamestorm, Blue Fireball, very common appearances. So, just talk to us about how you kind of decided to fight against it.
That is specifically sort of how the deck was born, you know, rather than your typical mage choice for range that is more common. You know, that's why I'm rocking, you know, Doom Ship and Gunner, because their health is so high, they just survive any burn that gets thrown at them for the most part. And, you know, add a couple globals, and they're just really hard to deal with. And that's just sort of how the deck was developed. So, let's see. What's going on in the game? All right, so we've got lots of burn from red. All right, so I don't really want to run ranged units that are going to die to that. Or on the flip side of that, you know, you've got strong single target removal, like in green and whatnot. So I wanted a little bit more of a swarmy approach, so single target's not also super viable. I usually want to try to get that, you know, either Rampage or Scope engine going pretty early, but his board presence with that last spell meant I really had to play conservative, because I know his stuff could get swole quick, so I really just had to sort of wait for the opportunity. But I couldn't wait too long, because I could only survive the burn for so long. But I pulled through in the end just with really high health.
Right, and we definitely kind of, again, saw that through the match, you being able to survive and tank those global burns that really sometimes end up being the saving grace for some of these last will decks. But on that note, I mean, BC, do you have anything before we jump into our second matchup here for DA?
Not really. I mean, just the Doom ships. It's really nice to see them getting played. We don't see them played enough. But yeah, that's about it.
That's the only deck I've ever really found a place for them, but they really do shine here.
Right, certainly. But with that being said, folks, match number 2 about to get underway here, so let's go ahead and jump into that right now. Alright, folks, and match number 2 underway here, of course. DA running back the same as before with that Pirate Druid list here. And Bolas responding with the Ninja Druids. So, BC, any predictions on what we might see in this matchup?
Ooh, this is going to be spicy, especially with that opening. This is going to force DeathsAdvocate to coin it into the Elvish Thief to deal with this, and that's going to be 2 damage for Bolas on his castle. So basically a free incinerate, and this is why I run Rider a lot, is because in the early game it can just be a free incinerate plus just unit removal as well. So it's kind of like a 2-for-1 deal.
Alright, so we're running into the Mystic Dojo territory here for Bolas, and that's kind of interesting. Obviously, traps are okay. I've personally never been a fan of them, but I'm not going to let my personal bias seep into the matchup here. We are going to get the Dojo draw here on turn 3 here, but that's going to leave DA room to Spiny.
Yeah, spiny away that Dojo before that draw becomes even more powerful. You just want to cut it off before it can really develop. Of course, with traps also not being super early game unit heavy, it's hard to fit in units with all of those traps. And without the draw engine, Bolas could just be sitting on a handful of traps and no units. So you really just want to cut it off now, even if it means losing your blacksmith if he does have the unit in hand. But yeah, just getting that early aggression going,
And you
that's where
kind
you
of just
really
want to
need to
be
be with
aggressive,
traps.
period, against traps, to be quite honest. If the opponent is forced to react to you and interact with your units instead of you interacting with them, that's a pretty good sign that you're going to have a advantage in the matchup here. And we're going to see a great pull from Ramrus. That's going to do a little bit of work here. It could go into, he can go into Ramrus and Hovel turn 4, and that
I
way he
predict Secret
lands.
Dragon.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying that he interacts with this tree. I'm thinking he just goes face, ignores tree, and
Oh, I see,
kind
I
of
see.
forces Bolas to make a decision here. Either deal with that Spiny or push forward. Which, I mean, he might have a second Forest of all. He might have a second unit for sure, but definitely going to be a bit of an issue.
Yeah, I think this is his tree traps, which is a deck he has done bad things to me with before. So definitely. Oh, yep. Okay, it's starting. This is. Ooh, dear.
Alright, well, we have outs
An
here.
out. Yeah, I
Yes.
would definitely onslaught that ninja to get that out of here. You don't want to see that.
And obviously we'll see.
Maybe should have called for aid there, because the ninja wasn't within range, and then onslaughted next turn with something. But it's the same net effect because of course call for aid needs to go down at some point. But
And that's always a
um,
problem with Call for Aid here. It's such a risky card to play because sure you're getting these two beefy units for cheaper, and they can come out and do a lot of things earlier on. But on the other side of it, it takes a bit of extra time to set up, and that could leave yourself open to the opponent just coming in and whacking you for unwanted damage or remove some useful tools that you really could have paired them with. Regardless, you know, it's
yeah,
an interesting card.
the only time I really run Call for Aid, it's a great card, don't get me wrong, but I only run it in very early game heavy decks as kind of the carrying factor for the late games because you've already had so much unit pressure on them in the early game that you can play it and they're not going to be able to go on face with you. Um,
And now we're seeing a
so
bit of
I
a
yeah.
well. If you were going to say something further, I
No,
apologize.
I wasn't. No, don't worry about that. You can interrupt me any day of the week, Red.
All right, but I mean, getting to the matchup here, Bolas is putting a bit of pressure onto Da at this point here. We want to see, I mean, that he wants to put that rat into the Trent, but obviously that trap is deterring him from doing so. Worst case scenario, it's a Secret Dragon. The best case, an Jitsu. But still, neither of those remove the tree from this game.
Yeah, he's just worried it's a secret dragon at this point because that's going to give the heal to the Trent and buff it, which is just scary. I think Bolas has this in the bag. I really don't see anything Death's Advocate can do here.
Well, he did the right play in setting up for the Rangers. He's going to take a little bit of damage, about 6 in total from these units without any sort of buffs here. And yeah, Drake, again, just putting more, gas on the game here. Just going to see the
Oh dear.
blessing.
This has to be Ranger Bestial Rage. This has to be.
I would think so here. Actually,
No, still got to do it. There's no choice.
well, what he can do, and what I recommend is, yeah, Ranger, Bestial Rage, but instead of going for that Centaur first and potentially giving that buff, interact with that Shaman, which he's thinking about. Getting the weaker unit, that trap pull. So if it is an Jitsu here, it can survive. Okay, gonna be Secret Dragon here. Oh
Oh
no,
no,
that's gonna be the Ice Drake.
that's the worst thing you could have gotten.
Yeah,
I
so
mean, for that reason, I might have gone for the Centaur first, but I don't. That's just me talking in hindsight.
I mean,
Like
but
with
the
Secret
problem is,
Dragon,
it
it's
also
so hard. Yeah.
it still gets that blessing of the Trends buff too. So not only are you dealing with that 5/5 Centaur, but like or whatever dragon comes out, but you're also dealing with the +2
Oh, that is
+2.
okay. I see what you're saying. That is true, actually. I'm sorry, guys. RedMaster is correct. That would have been a bad play. Don't ever do that because the chances of getting the Ice Drake, which is your lowest roll, which is going to be the lowest stat boost, is 1 in 4.
And
Yeah,
that's
one
gonna
in
be the
four.
game. Yep, dissipate.
Yeah,
Looks like it's
that's
gonna be
it.
a quick one, which is not too surprising given the hand we saw from DA. I think that range aspect definitely hurt him a bit there. Things like the Doom Ship, the Troll Gunner coming in turn after turn without being able to deal with some of the low rush units that were kind of thrown out here, like the Trent and the Centaur. But I mean, hey, you can't get victorious every time here. A quick one, but I mean, yeah, I would definitely like to hear from the players on this one.
Hey, we get a third match.
And that's true, we do get a third match here. So let's go ahead and jump to players real quick. Hopefully be a shorter interview period because there wasn't a whole lot of match to work with. But, I mean, hey, any match is a good match. Let's go ahead and jump to those players right now. Alright, folks, and we're back after a quicker match number 2 here. And unfortunately, Dia, we're going to start with you this time because unfortunately you didn't come out victorious in this one. A little overwhelmed by the trap stuff here. I mean, well, first of all, talk to me how you were feeling in the matchup here. You had a strong start by removing the dojo, cutting off that draw, but then seemingly couldn't really continue to put fuel to the fire as the match went on. So let me know your thoughts on that.
I knew an aggressive Druid deck was going to be problematic because buffed companions mean ranged and backline buildings are nearly useless. I figured I could still pull through it just because, going on the other side of the deck with the rangers and big beasts. But, I knew it was going to be a really hard matchup. And he got a lot of really good early pressure there. And then at the end, of course, I knew it was, one of the traps, Secret Dragon being a strong possibility, so I had to try and set myself up in a way that I'd be able to clear 3 things on that board. And I think if it was anything but Ice Drake, I would have gotten that Rampage in and recovered. He still likely would have had me either way, because I was low enough that just another companion drop could have done me in, but it would have at least given me a fighting chance there. He definitely picked a really good counter pick.
Right, right. And I mean, no fault on you. I definitely noticed probably that your pickups there also probably weren't the best to handle that aggression. Things like Troll Gutter and Doomship, unfortunately, after you kind of took out the dojo, weren't necessarily too helpful, I think, just in that particular scenario. But overall, you did the best that you can, and unfortunately, Ice Drake is just going to, freeze you in your tracks there, preventing you from getting the win, but no shame. Definitely think it was just unfortunate.
I don't know if that would have got me the win, but it would have made it a pretty even match from there
Yes,
on out.
probably, yeah. But Beastly, anything for DA before I move to the other side of things?
Yeah, I just want to talk about that last play just a tiny little bit here. And why going for the play that you did was an interesting choice. Because out of the pool for Secret Dragon, you have Ice Drake, you have Fire Drake, you have Green Drake, and you have Shadow Drake. And if he had pulled either Ice Drake or Green Drake, you would have died. Because Green Drake would have survived as he had down the Faithful Drake on the board, so it would have gotten that +2/+2, and your what's it called? Your Ranger wouldn't have been able to kill it. So it was a half chance basically that you would have survived there. But if you had gone for the Centaur first, then you would have just 3/4 chance that it would have survived the Centaur with the +2/+2 boost originally. So that was it was a good play on your part, but unfortunately, it was the 1/2 chance didn't turn out in your favor there. So yeah, just an interesting scenario, and of course you didn't know that it was going to be Secret Dragon in the first place.
I had a feeling, considering I'd already ruled out the Death Trap from Druids, so I figured it was either going to be Ayajutsu or Secret Dragon.
Yeah, and then that was the correct play in going for that, because Ayajutsu, of course, you could have gotten the kill off there. So yeah, good on you for that.
But moving over
It's just the best play I had, but he made a very good counter pick, and RNG didn't favor me in the end.
Right. But moving over to the other side here, of course, Bolas, you did pick up the win here, going with the Ninja Druid Trap. Talk to me about the counter pick choice and what kind of made you position that deck to be the one to bring into game 2.
So originally I was thinking I would go with my freeze deck since that's pretty good against ranged units. But then actually today I played DA twice in rankings with this tree traps deck, and I beat him twice. So I'm like, okay, and DA's been kicking my butt in rankings a lot. So I'm just like, okay, I guess I might as well go with the deck that I, used against him successfully. So that was the reason behind that choice. And honestly, I was just really hoping I had a Dissipate in hand in case he did play early on like a Doom ship, which I did, and he didn't even have time to play his Doom ships because the aggro so that was good, and then
Right.
ended up closing the game out early.
Right, and even if you're, I mean, like, how are you thinking that you were going to proceed with the game once you lost that dojo draw? Because normally trap decks do tend to
Oh
favor
yeah,
having
I
that sort of extra gas, and losing it early on can be sometimes killer for them depending on how they draw in the following turns. Obviously, they draw more traps, they're not getting the draw, they're wasting 3 gold, and it's kind of just not a good sign for them. So, I mean, how are you planning on dealing with that moving forward?
I kind of didn't really care about losing it. I kind of thought he would have a spiny or like some sort of companion to put against it, because I just wanted to get like the one draw off was kind of nice, just because I didn't have like a play for that turn. But I honestly could have just been playing the traps without the draw because I had enough materials in hand to go forward with the game.
Right.
I just had a really good hand that game.
But I mean, we all like to have those every now and then, so I can't blame you for having that. But on the other side, Beastly, you have any words for Bolas before we do jump into game number 3?
No, I just think Tree Traps is a pretty cool deck. That's about it.
All right,
Cool.
well,
Very cool
as
deck.
expressive as ever, Beastlies. But well, with that being said, folks, we do move into game number 3 now, so let's go ahead and jump right into that. Alright, folks, and game number 3 now underway here. DA deciding to run back the same as game 1, seeing as how that turned out pretty good for him last time. And of course, Bolas having to bring out the red-yellow as a result of this being game 3. Beastly, any thoughts on how you think this matchup is going to go?
Um, I'm gonna make a prediction here. Now I'm gonna say that Bolas is gonna play this a little bit more conservative. Well, actually, I don't know how. I'm out of my depth here. I can't make predictions on this. This is just an interesting dynamic. The things that are going to go on here, I can't make predictions on this.
It's something to be interesting here because on one end, DA had a pretty strong showing against the Last World deck, but that was due in part to a couple of factors that went in more of his favor. Obviously, having the double Doom ship was pretty big for him in the early game. The Dagger Storm Andrew removal was, incredible RNG on his part here. And, I mean, we're not seeing any of those aspects as of right now in the hand. We've got Dwarven Scope, Gunner, which could be interesting. Spiny making an appearance as well could do some nice work there. So I guess it really depends on who really gets to their gas first, in my opinion here. Is it going to be Bolas bringing out the Andrew early, or are we going to see, Reaper set up with those Doom ships and get a global buff conundrum started? I feel like that wasn't the right word,
Yeah,
but
I
I'm fine
think
with it.
Death's Advocate. I think it's honestly a pretty even match, seeing as Death's Advocate, of course, runs those chunky range units, as he said in the interview for the first match there, where they're hard to burn off because they have more than 4 health. So it should be interesting to see.
Now, interesting that he's considering the Spiny here to remove the books. He knows that, if he lets Bolas have this draw, it could be pretty dangerous. But on the other side of it, setting up a Troll Gunner could also be pretty big right now, in my opinion. Sure, that upkeep might hurt, but okay, going with the Spiny.
I mean, that makes sense because right now, even if you play the Troll Gunner, where's it going to go? Like, he might just be able to burn off the Blacksmith and then just hit it. If you put it, like, right in front of Castle, and then you have to play it off to the side, it's not very aggressive, and then you're sad.
Right, certainly a good point there. The Nunchuck Nun now coming out from Bolas here, so pretty cut and dry. Some of the same stuff we saw out of the last one. This now has some room to be dangerous. A Ramrus
Yeah.
Blacksmith turn 5 can lead to this Nun removal if he wanted to. Also
If
sets
he
us
gets
up, though,
lucky.
for a
Yeah.
dangerous Dragonfire situation. Actually, no, because we use the coin to get
No.
the Banshee turn 2.
Yeah. I would honestly okay. I guess he's gonna go for the Troll Gunner.
I mean, that's also
I mean, it
fine.
makes sense. He's
None
got
can't
the
really
scope.
remove the Ramrus, also, when you think about it.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. I was just worried that Bolas has something like a Rat King that can really just get the value out of this Nun.
Yeah, that is dangerous here. But, I mean, then again, Rat King would also be a little problematic with the upkeep. as of right now. I mean, we're still in the mid game here. Upkeep 2, still a decent chunk out of the gold. So maybe racking a bit risky.
Flamestorm, indicating that he probably has the extra burn to finish off that troll gunner, and he's just looking for that.
Potentially. Now the question is then, do you end up scoping the gunner to save
I
for
would
potential
not.
burn?
I would not scope that gunner. No,
Looks
don't.
like we are.
It's not gonna. Well, the issue is blue fireball is just gonna delete your gunner now.
I mean that's
And
better than what a potential dragon's fire coming out and doing a lot more out
yeah.
of. It's forcing him to use an additional burn. I think that's the
All
big
right.
thing. It's more
Yeah.
like what's better, targeted burn or global burn in that regard? Being able to get more out of the global Dragonfire burn 3, or having to remove the biggest threat with the
Yeah, I
targeted
do see
burn?
that because otherwise, I mean, the big thing is what would he have done instead of the Dwarven scope? He would have played a bunch of 3 health units.
And
And
that sets
then
him up
if the
for even
Dragon's Fire
bigger
does
Dragon's
come,
Fire.
and
Yeah.
yeah, there's the blue fireball. So he's losing the card and the extra little bit out of there as well. This is really devastating for Death's Advocate here, especially with the books coming out. I would send her that away. Like you can't be letting Bolas have any extra draw here.
But that also is so problematic for DA. It's 2 cards for that 1 removal. It's not efficient trading. Despite, yes, that is sort of the
Well,
idea.
it's
It
technically it's card for a card.
well, no, yeah, I guess. I
But the
forgot.
issue is Bolas does run the Dragon's Fire, so it is really Death's Advocate is going behind here because he's putting these low health units on the board. And if those pile up, it's just not going to be a fun time for him.
Yeah, what really saved him last game, I think, was that armory, creating that health barrier for some of the more important units to survive through. And in this game, we're just not seeing that as frequently. We're not
Yeah.
getting that power. Now, interestingly, he did go for the Ramrus here, so I'm really curious to see, because right now, a Dragon's Fire could make or break this game.
If Bolas has an Andrew's Dragon's Fire, I would be so sad for Death's Advocate. Sorry, what did I say? An Andrew. Andrew.
Well, there's the Dragon's Fire. That is very
Yeah,
unfortunate.
that's
He did pick up a
just.
Troll Gunner, though, which
Mm,
actually I'm not too mad about. If I'm
I'm pretty mad about that. That's not going to work out for him. Just play the gunner, play the doom ship, see if you can squeeze something out.
I mean that's what I'm
He's
trying to
good.
say here. I mean, Gunner and Doomship are, again, the high health of those units should be able to tank through whatever Bolas might throw out, because I mean he's got 3 cards in hand. What are those going to be that is going to remove both Gunner and Doomship?
Yeah, I would just, if I was Death Advocate, play both of them, spread them out, clench your butt cheeks.
And and pray, yeah. I mean, and again,
Yeah,
Dwarven Scope is also in the hand. Look how much that could do later on.
that could do quite a bit. You are correct.
I'd say that DA is not out of the matchup yet. Is he in trouble? Certainly. Is he out? No. Alright, so Bolas going to set up here for turn 9. A lot of
I'm
options
thinking
we can see.
Dragon's Fire Flamestorm would be kind of
Oh my
funny.
god. If that hits the board, I
That
would
would be
be amazed at
disgusting.
his
I would be
call
absolutely
luck for that.
disgusted. Oh, he's got the blue fire. Okay.
Okay, so Blue
So he's
Fire
gonna clean up
hitting
one.
Doomship. He's forcing him to keep the Troll Gunner, which in hindsight could be a mistake. Sure, the upkeep is dangerous, but at this late in the game, might not do a whole lot. Oh dear.
Oh, no. That's okay.
Alright, it doesn't hit the
Maybe
one.
indicating that he has the more burn, perhaps, to deal with it. He's gonna move the Sunflower
If we
back.
can
That's
draw...
interesting.
Oh, we can...
Probably Onslaught the Sunflower. Yeah, Onslaught the Sunflower 100%. Because it's slow. It's not going to be able to get over to you too quickly.
Oh, and then
Armory?
the
That's
pickup.
good.
That does survive the burn potential that we have. Like, if we have
Yeah,
Dragon's Fire, I would throw it down,
gotta
clear
play-
off the Nun, and
yeah.
just pray. I mean, there's nothing else that you can do in that regard, I would say. I mean, look
I
at
think
the fact that Bolas is also trying to run low on cards. He can't remove that Tarius Files, and he's playing a lot of things here.
that is true. Yeah, this is kind of scary.
This might actually
for
turn
Bo-
around for DA. Oh, I say that Arbiter comes out. Not the worst, because we still have our armory after all.
That is true. He can make a comeback. It depends on the draws. Like Shaman, that's a good pull for him. Yeah, that's decent. Bestial Rage, not so decent, but I would have preferred to see a unit, but now you can body block the Sunflower. Just run it straight up.
I don't know if you want to do it straight up.
No, well, if he has a Craxus, he may as well just bend over. Like.
Oh my god.
Okay, I'll stop.
I mean, he can allow that Sunflower to come in another space if he wants to. The bleed will only affected by one, and then next turn you do the Shaman stuff. You kill it that way here. You want to see
You
what
can
he does.
always, yeah, you can always scope the Shaman as well if worse comes to worse, and kind of scope it, Bestial Rage, and run around. I would like to see him maybe run Serpent Witch in a deck like this, where you can scope and Bestial Rage, because Serpent Witch with scope and Bestial Rage is kind of it's funny. It does things.
All right, so it looks like Darkbender gonna hit the board now for Bolas. Yet another Sunflower. So yeah, I don't really see Bolas delivering as much gas to the game as
definitely
Reaper is right now.
Yeah, definitely hit this first Sunflower, and that Targus Files is shooting Bolas in the foot right now because he can't get to Castle with his Darkbender. Until he manages to get that Targus File gone, or he moves the Darkbender up a square so that he can fly over it.
I think
it's just.
No, go ahead.
Yeah. No, you go first.
Well, I was gonna say here. Do you think we can see a hand dump from DA here? Rage scope. Move in, bully the Darkbender a bit, get a Doom ship out for defense here. Just kind of push him because we are getting the sudden death soon.
I would honestly hit the Sunflower and then play Doom ship and do nothing else.
Really? Alright, you're gonna save the big
Sunflower. Yeah, the Sunflower is gonna die. There's no need to bully the Darkbender right now because it can't get close to Castle. And it's better to save the scope and the Bestial Rage for that Doom ship later on. He's gonna preemptively scope it. That's an interest.
Yeah.
I guess he's thinking about getting a Call for Aid, which makes sense. I mean, I guess I agree with that.
Perhaps.
I think he's trying to scare off Bolas here. That's the main thing he's going for, I believe. Is just to keep Bolas's units back with the threat of that big Doom ship getting the value.
Yeah, certainly.
And yeah, the Bestial Rage on that Doom ship would be devastating for Bolas, just because DeathsAdvocate can kind of start moving around. I mean, the slowness does hinder it a little bit, so it's not going to be able to do a whole lot. Ooh, we see... Ooh, this could be big.
I would like to see him Bestial Rage now. Yeah, give Bolas that draw, and then bop the Darkbender.
I would bop one of them first, get the draw, see what you get.
Right.
Okay, interesting. Play the Doom ship.
Yeah. Well, let's get the Rage first. Let's go. Let's go ahead and show off that beautiful combo here. Remove Tarius Files, push up, pop Darkbender for free.
Ooh, this is big. This is kind of juicy.
Right, and then we
get see, that Doom ship, the value is there, saving the Rage for that, instead of kind of preemptively hitting. And now, you know, this Doom ship is going to be basically unstoppable here.
And we'll see what it decides to do. Fear gonna hit the board.
Fear does nothing though. Yeah, that's the issue.
The one movement of Doom ship coming in clutch here. It can't move. It can't be blocked. And
I think that was a misplay on Bolas's part because it fears to the bottom, right? So he could have feared the first Doom ship, then feared the second Doom ship, and that would have gotten it out of position.
If it can't have that pathing backwards.
That's what I'm saying. So if he had feared the bottom Doom ship, that would have gone back one, and then he could have feared the top Doom ship, and it would have gone down a square, and that would have gone out of alignment with Castle.
Right. So this is a huge turn for DA here. Getting a bit of weird scattering off the Dagger Storm. Ooh. There's options. There's definitely options that he can go for here. I would say.
Yeah.
My gut intuition is telling me to bop Castle a bit because you want to start evening out that damage gap. And
definitely bop Castle.
It up with maybe
no.
All right.
No. Don't do that. He has Arbiters.
Well, he has Rage too. That's right.
Yeah, I guess he's gonna go for the unit bop-offs, which he's just securing himself, I guess. But that sudden death, he doesn't have heals, so if the sudden death takedowns enough, if Bolas can stall with Arbiters and get the burn in.
Well, how much? Well, the thing is, I guess, how much will Arbiter really do in a state like this here? Bolas isn't going to get a huge castle heal, and the Doom Ship of 6 attack is still a viable threat.
Yeah,
Especially with
true.
things like companions and more global buffs lurking in the deck. This could be a big turnaround.
Lumberjack coming out. Flamestorm. If he gets another one of those, he could be in good shape.
But I mean, the Doom Ships would still survive, and I think they would take their hint at that point and get some damage. Oh, Andrew, you are not the damage that we were looking for.
Yeah, I don't know. I definitely think that's got this in the bag.
Well, he's not out of it yet.
I guess the fear play really didn't affect anything too much because I think Death would have just gone for the unit hits anyway. So yeah, I guess it just would have been a turn of stall. Interesting.
Well, we'll see. We're gonna give
Rat Hovel,
Reaper,
Dagger Storm.
Not my favorite
this is
pickup
gonna
from
be
this deck. What I would do though is push that first Doom Ship up to bop the Nun. That clears the board, or not really clears the board.
then
You know what I mean.
bleed.
We'll clear the board enough for
Yeah.
Dagger Storm to be more impactful.
Gotta bop the Nun.
Yep. Come on.
I mean, it would be kind of funny if Bolas had 2 Arbiters.
Oh, I would hate to see that. No offense, Bolas, but you can't take
He's
away
already
the
used
Cinderella
one.
moment.
Yeah, he's already used one. If he pulls out another, I mean, DeathsAdvocate really only needs to get a companion to close out the game at this point.
Right, I would Dagger Storm as well too, just in case any damage shenanigans come. Oh, just to
Yeah,
make sure that Andrew was really nullified and rendered useless.
Yeah, definitely want to do that.
And then,
And put down the Rat Hobble. Well, why not?
yeah,
Do
in
it,
front of
do
the
it.
armory. Yeah. No, in front of the armory. So that way, what we can do
Yeah,
here
do
is
it
we
there.
can continue the rat
No,
setup.
no, not behind. Okay. I mean, honestly, it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't. But I mean, hey, having that rat be pushed more aggressively in case there is something big coming out like Craxus, because Craxus can't deal with or the Doom Ships together. Well, I guess together they can, but you know what I mean.
Oh, no, no.
Oh no. Don't.
See, the rats can help him body block his castle against another Arbiters, though. I think this is key. If he gets a unit, he's gotta. No. Oh no. Oh
I would push up,
no.
push up. You want to push those Doom Ships up.
If
get some
he
more
has,
damage.
if he has the Flamestorm, this is gonna be it.
That's why I want him to get as much damage as he can now instead of. Well,
Oh,
I guess he can still move.
no, it's got the rage. He can move it. He can move it out of the way. It's fine. Move it. Move it. Move it. Move it. Move it. Attack the Andrew. Move it. Move it. Oh, this is getting intense. What does Bolas have in his hand? Oh, those are not. That was unlucky pulls.
Oh, shoot him for that. Yeah, goodbye. Goodbye.
Yeah. Get out of here. Oh no,
yeah,
I'm scared.
I mean, listen, just body block and pray, man. That's literally all we can do here. Bolas has 6 cards in his hands, and this
in fairness, that was a little bit of a misplay. If he had remanaged that, he could have gotten a body block off against Arbiters with his range units.
Oh, and there's the drain life.
Oh, okay, that wouldn't have mattered. Wow, what a steal. Oh.
Well, I mean, to be fair, we did give Bolas a big chance of winning in the beginning stages of the matchup, and I mean, as the game progressed, it looked like that Cinderella comeback story was going to happen.
With the
but
big Doom Ships.
Arbiter was
just the second Arbiter. No, Arbiter's such a good 9 gold card if you play it in the right scenario where it deals the damage. Like mostly people play it for the actual 4 damage on turn 9.
Right.
But then the 10 heal is just absolutely devastating in the late game as well. So it's just all around. It's a good card in burn decks overall.
Right, and I mean, kind of going back to 10 heal as well. If you don't have Arbiters, again, Hands of the Saint, 10 heal, massive.
Yeah.
Massive
It is.
stuff.
It can be huge. I mean, the price tag with Arbiters, though, is what drives some people to do hands, but honestly, the amount of games I've closed out with just an Arbiters, dealing that 4 damage,
Is toxically large.
it is actually massive. It's like probably a third of all of my games I close out with an Arbiters, which is just absolutely atrocious. Whenever I can avoid it, I close it out with something else because I don't want people to be like mad. But yeah,
Alright, well, enough about you and your Arbiter chaos.
it's all about
Let's
me.
go ahead and get back to the players here, because there's definitely going to be some interesting words for our closing interview here. So with that being said, guys, let's go ahead and get right to it. Alright, folks, and with that being said here, as we move into our closing interview, Bolas, you kind of snuck away with that one for the win here. Alright, well, talk to us about how you went through that matchup here, going up against the same deck that you did in Game 1 here. Anything that you kind of did differently, approached differently, just talk to us about that.
Well, I knew I had to save my burn for the ranged units and the armories, so I was more conservative with it this time around. And then I just knew that I had to stabilize because his deck doesn't have that much draw. I figured I could probably outdraw him. I had no idea what my endgame would be, and honestly, I had the Arbitrator's Return and the Drain Life in my hand for a while, and I was thinking, like, okay, I can get rid of his armories with this, until I realized he's like, oh, he's at 9 life, I can just murder him. And felt kind of bad, because it's pretty cheap. But Arbitrator's Return is a beast card, so...
I mean, we mentioned, I think, in more towards the earlier stages of the matchup, you had a fairly decent control over it. So, I mean, we expected you to kind of maybe come out with the win as we got later in the game here, but probably not in that kind of sneaky way that you did following the Arbiter and whatnot. I think the Arbiter, again, a big part of what helped you kind of push through the matchup, because without those, you might have already lost the castle health.
Yeah. Could have easily still lost if he pulled out a companion, but I was lucky.
Aren't we all?
So, like, might as well do this, because otherwise I'm going to lose. So, and it worked out, because luck.
Well, I mean, on that front, Beastly, do you want to give him anything? Because you were mentioning a little bit of luck on his end.
You dirty boy. Double Arbiters? How could you? Oh no.
It's the same way I play OTK. You just gotta hope to draw the right
Clench
cards.
your butt cheeks. Clench your butt cheeks. That's about it. That's what you can do.
Yeah, you're on my channel.
That's my strategy.
Remember, you can't say those.
Sorry, I'm guesting here. You can bleep me out. I'll be back on my channel.
Alright, but moving over to the other side of things. Death, we want to talk to you about that matchup here. You had somewhat of a Cinderella comeback-esque story going on there as we moved into toward the later stages of the matchup here. Talk to me about how you were kind of feeling in those moments, just kind of rebuilding with the Doom ships and kind of pushing your way through with Scopes and Rampage.
Well, usually that's more of an early mid-game thing, not at the end game. Usually Doom ships are too slow at that point. I was really just hoping I'd find either companions or what's it called, the call for aids, because you know that's what actually closes games out most of the time. But instead, I was stuck with my early game and the late game, but it worked out.
No,
but,
certainly.
I got burned to death. Sucks. But, you know, at least it wasn't proper no interactions. It was only like half of it, so it can only be a little salty.
Yeah, the last
it was a really good game, though. It was really close.
Yeah, for sure. I think probably, you know, another turn or so more, like an extra round with the castle health where it was, probably would have seen a different outcome just by the way you had set up at that point. Doomship really, I think, proving their worth throughout both the first and the third game for you here. Incredible, just chonky units that really dictate the match for you, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, they're really good as long as you got scopes and rages. They're pretty bad if you don't have both, though.
Probably.
But I love them.
Yeah, listen, I don't think there's anyone else in the world who shares the love of Doom shit more than me and you. Well, me for a different reason, probably, but I mean, still. But hey, that's just me. Beastly, you have anything for our friend here? Overall, I would say a solid debut performance here. Nothing to be ashamed about at all, I would say.
I'm gonna go build a Doom ship deck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That doesn't really. That's not words for him.
Sorry, I'm a little bit conceited. So let's get back to Death's Advocate here. I would say honestly, it was a pretty good showing. I was leaning towards you winning at the start, just because of the fact that you run those big chunky range units, which are outside of burn range, and of course, a big part of Last Will is the burn, to avoid those range units so that you can push up with your Andrews and stuff like that. So I was really favoring that, but then you didn't really draw the range units until later. And then, of course, the Troll Gunner got burned off, which was a little bit unfortunate. But yeah, yeah, overall, it was a good match. It was very, very well balanced, I would say.
It was fun. That was a legitimately fun match.
And that's what we love to do here on Casting Conflict. So, I think with that being
Even
said...
though it was burn.
No,
So, just throwing in my salt and burn.
Oh, okay. So nothing new.
Direct burn.
Alright, folks, but with that being said, now I think I can successfully close out this video. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and take it to future me to close this video. Alright, folks, and with that being said, I hope you guys did enjoy this edition of Casting Conflict. Let me know what you guys thought of the matches by leaving your thoughts, of course, down in the description. And while you're down there, if you haven't done so already, be sure to like the video if you enjoyed it, share with your friends, and of course, subscribe if you're new or haven't done so already. It's the best way that you can support the channel here and help us grow. We are getting close to 800 subscribers, and soon, hopefully, 1K, so hopefully we can bolster that up a little bit. But that's going to do it for me for now, so until next time, guys, stay gaming.